Yo, I'm Eva, and I'm going to do an analysis of Victor Chevalier's full move list and also provide you a full reference spreadsheet with all the moves with frame data like the ones Applay created for Tekken 7. Massive props to them as it helped me during my Tekken 7 learning, so I wanted to make a Victor version because I'm planning on maining him. Hopefully this helps you get a better idea of Victor as a character, and link to the file will be provided below. Feel free to copy it and make your own version. I'll also include a clean, no thoughts version if you want to fill that stuff out yourself. Firstly, to note, shout out to Jacob D for the video provided, and Arsenal D for having the English version on stream as well. Firstly, a brief intro section to help newcomers to the series, to help understand the notations, since Tekken 8 is a big shiny new game, and the community will be getting a lot of fresh blood due to Victor's flashy style, as well as him being a hot daddy, or in French, a papa chaud. Skip this section if you already know all the stuff. Notation and explanation. On the movement side of your controller, so on the left, notations for lowercase letters are for cardinal directions. So a lowercase b would mean pressing the back button, F for forward, U for up, D for down. Capitalized means holding down that button instead of a quick press. 1, 2, 3, and 4 refer to the right side of the controller buttons for actions starting from the furthest left button, then the top right, bottom left, and the bottom right. Putting it all together, if I say DF1, it means inputting down forwards and the 1 button simultaneously. A comma after a button input means after you tap the last button, now tap the next button. DF12 would mean input down forwards 1 and then the 2 button. You need not re-input the down forwards or hold these inputs, mostly in T7. Hopefully T8 will be similar. And another example, if I say or have notated DF1 plus 2 with the plus symbol, this means inputting down forward 1 and 2, altogether all 4 of these buttons simultaneously. Moving on to a couple of key terminologies. WS means while standing, so from a crouching position. WR means whilst running, usually inputted by FFF, so triple forwards. SS meaning sidestep. LNCH meaning launcher for combo time. Wall / wall BRK means this move will splat an enemy against the wall, or it will break the wall for more opportunity to combo them further. KND is for knockdown on the enemy, meaning it leaves them on the floor, which opens them up, I should say, for the next, which is Oki, which is OKI, which means Okizeme, which means the opportunity to do more stuff to the enemy while they're on the ground or while they're getting up on the ground, such as from a KND, a knockdown. CH means counter hit, so this is for when your attack lands as the enemy is still winding up their attack but has not yet landed their attack on you. This changes the properties of some moves and also gives Victor some very interesting and powerful options later on that we will cover. For strings, so a number of inputs together, if a button input has been notated as being in a bracket, it means that this part of the string or attack series is not guaranteed, even if the previous hits did land. You will notice in the video that the combo counter actually resets between these hits. This means the hit can be blocked and it can possibly leave you at a disadvantage, but the option to input it does exist. Anyway, let's get into the proper move list. We have over here, starting with his jab series. So this is our 112 input, leading to 27 damage, which is pretty good. It leaves him advantageous in terms of frames with +3. There's a great other option, which is a 1-3, which we'll see in a bit. But this is a really, really good jab string. 1-2. Has an optional 1-2-1, so one ender, which we'll see in a bit, right here. However, as we can see, the counter combo, the combo counter, I should say, has reset, meaning this one at the end is not guaranteed. The safe option is just the 1-2, so 17 damage +8. Or if you land lost, it is a full knockdown. Next is 1-3. 1-3 is a high-low combo string, which is guaranteed. The 3 is a low, which is really nice. So overall 16 damage, which is a little lower than a 1-2-2. And it leaves him in Victor in -1. However, if the opponent is blocking, you can use 1-3 to open them up and get that low damage in. Next is 2-1. So 2-1 is a 22 damage string ending in +5 frames, which is really nice for Victor. This also can transition into the Perfumer stance. This is the fastest way of entering the stance and with advantage of +5, which is really, really powerful for him. So this is definitely a move worth using. Next is 2-2-2, which ends Victor up in his EI stance, which is his about to draw his sword stance. Is a 32 damage combo, which is really chunky. Leaves him with +4 frames, and is his fastest transition into his EI stance. Definitely worth using. Next is 3-1+2. This series is pretty chunky with 30 damage +5 frames. However, the entire string is all high, and the initial hit is, which is rare for Victor, is a non-weapon high, so it means it can be parried or countered. I'm not a huge fan of this series. I don't think I'll be using it much. Next is 4-3-2. 4-3-2. This, as you can see, resets the combo counter, which means it's not a natural combo. The final hit is not guaranteed. However, in many trader videos, this has been his go-to ender at the end of combos. However, probably not one to use out in the open or the neutral. 1+2 is a 15 frame. Probably likely to be a 15 frame counter hit launcher. Just using it on normal hit leaves you at +7 frames. +2 frames, I should say, and only 17 damage. It's okay. Possibly good against mashers. Next is 3+4, which is his manual input to enter his EI stance. We'll be talking about stances in the later stance section of the video. Just note, pressing down back, or once again re-inputting 3+4 will exit you out of the stance. Forwards to this series. As you can see, during the middle of this attack series, it in fact reset the combo counter is not guaranteed. But being a kind of a 4 to 5 hit string, you can use it to knowledge check people. The same logic goes for forwards 2, 2, 2. F3 is Victor's manual transition into his perfumer stance. Once again, we'll be talking about stances later on in the video. Forwards 4, 1. Forwards 4-1 is Victor's fastest heat transition move. This gives 36 damage plus 17 frames of advantage. However, do note that the initial hit is not weapon based, so once again it can be countered or parried against characters that have those abilities. Just note it's still worth using this move. It is his fastest transition into the heat state. Forwards 4-2 is a different option out of the forwards 4 input. It gives about the same amount of damage, 35, gives you plus 5 frames, and it forces the enemy into a crouching position. Since he extends his foot out quite far on the forwards 4, this could be a decent keep out move, whilst also retaining your heat gauge without using it. Plus 5 frames is also quite nice, as his fastest launcher is 15 frames. So if you did try to launch them, if the enemy tries to do the fastest whilst standing move I should say, which is typically 11 frames, you'll outspeed them and you will launch them. Forwards 1+2 is a 24 frame heat engager. It can also wall break according to the green icon. It does 35 damage plus 17 frames. It seems okay. It's weapon based, but it's on the slower side. I don't think I'll be using it that often, but it can certainly be good for wall break and probably extending out that combo after the wall. Now, DF11. What a lovely move this is. Oh, one sec. Alright. Sorry, here you go. DF11. 24 damage, plus 7 frame advantage after landing. Natural combo, so all of this string will hit. If the first does, this is Victor's fastest mid check. It's really strong. However, up forward 1 later, that we will see later, is also really good. However, with this ending in +7, it certainly means you have enough frame advantage to land your DF2 or up forwards 4 launcher at 15 frames. So it will outspeed an enemy's jab. It also self-loops into itself, being 13 frames. So 13 frames minus 7 leaves 8 frames, which is still less than the opponent's 10 frame jab. So you can once again loop into itself if the enemy tries to challenge. And given the fact that you can then, if they do try to challenge it, you can just launch them. This is a really nice down forwards 1 series. Down forwards 2, which we just referred to, is his standard mid launcher. It is weapon based, which means once again it cannot be parried or countered, and it appears to possibly have a little bit more range than his other 15 frame launcher, which we'll see in a sec. But this is your standard go-to launcher. Very nice. This string is df4. So let me bring that up 1 sec. df3, I should say. df3 for 2. So it looks like the combo counter resets on the second hit and the third hit. So it's not a true combo to be used in neutral. Rather, as we've seen many times in his trailers, I should say, this is a nice combo filler / ender. df4. Let's get this up here. df4-2 is a super fast mid check, exactly the same speed as the df1-1 that we mentioned earlier. It's nice and chunky at 31 damage, leaves you +4 frame advantage. It's a knee, which means it cannot be parried or countered. Really nice for Victor. And it enters the EI stance, which is nice. However, as I've noted down here, is dominated by the Upward 1 series, which we'll see in a bit. But it's still very nice. Down forward 3+4 here. Is a chunky 32 damage wall breaker. It seems to be useful just for that. Doesn't have a ton of range. Probably useful for wall breaks and for combo for doing so. Next up is D11, one of my favorite moves for Victor. Let me bring up the data for you. D11 is 22 damage, leaves Victor at +6. It's a low. His animation is he crouches pretty much extremely quickly, so it will crush high jabs from the opponent. Leaving him at +6 is great because once again, like the DF1 series, it gives him enough frames to launch the opponent if they try to jab him after eating this. And at +6, it almost effectively loops back into itself before the opponent can challenge. So if the opponent tries to challenge with a 10 frame, if you do D11 again, you will high crush, meaning you will avoid their jab, and poke them in the foot once again to set up the exact same situation. This is really, really nice. And then you can also mix out the opponent with with DF1 series if they try to duck and block this. Or you could launch them for free using DF2 or upwards 4 if they try to duck and block it as well. Even more so because his launches come out at 15 frames and this move comes out at 16 frames. So very, very similar frames here. Just a beautiful mix-up situation. Down 2 is Victor's 18 frame heat engager. It's okay. I'm not a huge fan of this move. It's much slower than his kind of faster options, but it'll get you into heat, I suppose. D3 is a low poke for Victor. It's 11 damage, leaves Victor at -2. It's not very good. There's a far better move coming up right here. I would not use down 3. So let's have a look at this. Down 4 to 16 frame, so it comes out 2 frames faster. Comes out 2 frames faster than D3. It leaves Victor at a worse state of -3, However, it's faster, which makes it more safe, and the damage difference is negligible. What's truly interesting and makes this much stronger than D3 is this move, where on counter hit, Victor enters an animation resulting in 30 damage and knocks down the enemy onto the floor, giving you the opportunity to possibly guarantee another kind of poke while they're on the ground or whilst they get up. This is a really, really strong move. I will be abusing this a lot. Next is down whatever this move is. Oh, sorry, down 1+2. Let's see if I can find it. Here we go. Is an instant screw move. It doesn't seem to be too useful just to use it out in the neutral situation. Likely useful during combos. This move is down back 1-1. Which leaves Victor in +2, doing 18 damage. It's okay. It can transition into the Perfumer stance. But as I've noted here, it just kind of seems worse than the 12 frame version that we saw earlier. Down back 3 is a 19 frame move, so a bit slower, does 20 damage, knocks the enemy down, it will wall break, and it will also screw or tailspin the enemy, so it can be used in combos. Victor's animation during this appears to crush high since he ducks down pretty low as he extends out his leg. So it can be probably pretty good for keeping out enemies, as well as kind of the aforementioned stuff. Down back 4 is 20 frame, low. It's not weapon based, so this is to note, it can be low parried. However, what is benefiting Victor here a lot is that he enters a very low stance as he does this move, so it will crush highs, it might crush mids even. However, what truly makes this move truly incredible is its properties on counter hitting an opponent, where it will leave the opponent in a huge crumple stun, which is launch. This is a full combo launch off of a low, and which has amazing animation properties for Victor as it will crush highs. This move is fantastic, just incredible. Highly recommend. Back 1-2. Is a really nice move here. So you have the option, if you hold forwards, to enter the Perfumer stance, which is really nice as a transition. Or if you do not, you will enter the throw animation and you'll switch sides, possibly getting you out of the wall situation. Having these moves that have these two options are really, really nice for Victor. You know, for all characters, honestly. So I recommend this move. Really, really good. Back 2. This is a unassuming little move here, where you give them a little puff of smoke in the face or a little strobe light. However, this is in fact a parry, and it may parry all highs and possibly all mids. On counter hit, it will give at least 14 frames of advantage, as in a stream by Maximilian Dude. He showed off a video where the 14 frame heat move connected after it. So it seems really, really strong. Back for one, if I can find it. Back 3-1, I should say, my mistake. Back 3-1, 40 damage, wall breaker. Fairly decent animation on it. It looks like it has a decent amount of range. Where Victor fully stretches out his leg here. So probably good as a keep out move. Back 4 is a 17 frame, it's an 18 frame move, I should say, doing 17 damage. Leaves Victor positive at plus 13. The animation on it looks fairly stumpy. However, you'll notice that this move has this blue arrow here, blue loop. This is Victor's a homing move for Victor, which will catch sidesteppers. It is his fastest homing move, so good to have, but seems like its range is quite small. Back 1+2 is Victor's first and fastest armored move here. It is 15 frames, does 25 damage, plus 17 advantage due to the heat state. We will have to see what the properties are after heat is burned out, if it's this good, which it will likely not be, but is Victor's fastest armored move. This is a little bit of a con because it kind of forces you to have to enter the heat state. So if you were trying to save it for later, but you need an armored move, this kind of forces you to enter it. However, some nice properties on it. It does wall break. And yeah, it's worth using due to its armor properties for sure. Back 1+4 is a seemingly fantastic move. Is a backswing blow, meaning Victor will step back. Well, in his case, he will teleport backwards and then attack forwards, which is really nice because it has the opportunity to cause the opponent to whiff on their attack, and then you hit them back for it. Depending on just how minus it is on block, this move seems really, really strong and really useful to have just in the back pocket. This new move, up 1+2, is a slow one at 31 frames. However, from the animation, it looks like he might become invulnerable to all attacks extremely quickly in the animation. And it looks like it might actually launch the enemy on hit. From a video from Maximilian Dude's stream that was released by Bandai Namco, there was an opportunity where there was an occasion, I should say, where Raven attempted to do his rage art against Victor, and then on that frame Victor used this move, causing the rage art to whiff, and then Victor to come down and hit Raven. So it seems possibly extremely strong. Can it, on reaction, avoid all rage arts? We'll have to see. But this move has a lot of opportunity to be good. In the heat state, it's just a bonus kind of knockdown damage attack version. Up forwards 1-1. So I've mentioned this a couple of times previously. So let's get into this. If I can find the dang thing, 13 frames, that's it. Here we go. Okay, lots of notes here. Up forward 1-1. Starts mid, ends mid. So it's a 2-hit mid move, which is nice. 13 frames, nice and quick. 30 damage, chunky. This animation says, and the green icon here says, it will break walls or will splat enemies. It will force the enemy into crouch, according to this icon here. Extremely fast knockdown. It's a weaponed move, meaning it cannot be countered. Its first attack, the first hit I should say, has a high looking animation, so it might not be able to hit low stance characters such as Art of Phoenix for Ling Xiaoyu. If this turns out to be the case, use the F11. However, in the red text here, when translated to English, it can actually enter the EI stance by holding, possibly by holding down, but definitely through entering the 3+4 command, which I have noted down here wrong. So let me just change that. 3+4. Or a transition Victor into the EI stance. So once again having the option of kind of a knockdown move or transitioning into stance for additional pressure is a really nice choice to have. Our forwards 2 is 19 frames. Is a mid homing weapon attack, slower than his previous homing move. Possibly useful here, possibly not. Doesn't seem too strong. This move is up forwards 3. Since Victor hops on 1 foot, this move will crush lows. It may have better properties on counter hit, but from this, just normal hit is +3 frame advantage. 18 damage, doesn't seem too strong. Definitely not what I would say for this move, which is R forwards 4. This is a jumping, so once again it will crush lows. Victor teleports, so it's probably gonna possibly crush mids, possibly crush highs. Possibly not. His knee is not teleporting, right? Yeah, okay. It's just his second hit, but this is a launcher. Really nice since it's a knee, so it cannot be parried. Great move, yeah. It's basically his hop kick, but it's not a kick, it's a knee. Hold forwards 2 is 18 frames. This is nice. It's a launcher. It uses a weapon, so once again, it cannot be parried. It's an approaching move, so that makes it useful as an approach tool. If you feel like the enemy might try to press into your approach. From a stream, I also saw that this move does hit grounded opponents and flips them over for additional damage and okizeme. FF hold F2 is a whilst running move. Does 30 damage, knocks the enemy down. It is likely to have strong plus frames if the enemy blocks this. Likely pretty strong move to use. This move is down, down, forwards, forwards. Also known as QCF, so quarter circle forwards. 2. It transitions Victor automatically into the EI stance on plus for advantage, doing 60 damage total. This is a great approach tool for Victor. Really nice. The fact you teleport in, you don't run in, and you enter this stance, which has some pretty good mix-up moves. Hold back 2+3 is Victor's unblockable move. It is 65 frames. Snail speed slow. But it being an unblockable, and it's a backswing because Victor teleports backwards like a full step to use it, may mean it can catch some unwary opponents who do kind of a slow committal move against you. You may be able to catch them with this. I'm not too sure. It looks cool though. This is Vector's 10 hit combo. Generally a meme combo series. Meh. Nothing much to say. It's taunt, very cool. Key charge, sure. Victor has a backflip move, or in his case, it is a teleport backwards. Depending on the delay here in getting back to neutral, this move could be great for creating distance, or it could be a suicidal death sentence for itself if it's slow, and the enemy just runs up and launches you. Moving on to Victor's while standing moves. While standing 1 is a 15 frame mid weapon launcher. Really good. Yeah. This is the go-to mid launcher while you stand. Nothing too much to say about it. The fact it's weapon base is definitely good though. While standing 2 is a 14 frame mid, which means it's only one frame faster than a while standing 1. Doesn't seem too strong in my opinion. Possibly useful in combos, because if you wanted a faster option, his while standing 4 is much safer here. That we'll see in a bit. While standing 3-2 is a 15 frame launcher, but the initial kick is a high, which means it's duckable, which means inherently it has more risk than his while standing 1. While standing 4, as mentioned previously, is much faster at 11 frame startup, leading to advantageous +5 frames, and a little bit of damage at 16 damage. I would definitely opt to use this personally over while standing 2. Let's have a look at this. While standing 1+2, it is a 13 frame option while standing move. So if you are not sure you can get that full launcher at 15 frames, but you know you can get more than 11 frames, give this a go. It's 13 frames, mid, nice bit of damage, 27, and leaves you a very advantageous +8. It is also weapon based, meaning it cannot be parried. It seems pretty good. And if you hold forwards, this is important to note, it will enter Victor into his perfumer stance. So getting you out of crouch and with plus frames and entering a mix-up stance to kind of turn the tides against the enemy. This is full crouch 1+2. So this is inputting the 1+2 whilst you still remain crouched and holding down forwards. It is 16 frames. It is a low-high mix. Not mix, I should say. Low-high combo. Is weapon-based, as you can see in this frame. A great move. It is 16 frames, which means it's only 1 frame slower than while standing 1. So you can mix up the enemy using these, as the frame data is very, very similar here. This is a great move. Really nice to have. This is sidestep 1+2. It is 18 frames to come out. It is a mid. It will wall break. One factor of this which might be good is you can mix this move with a down back 4, which is a low, which is his low counter hit launcher. So it will deter enemies from trying to press into this, and you effectively have a decent mix where you either end up with damage and plus frames, or you end up knocking down the enemy. So fairly decent. It would be nice if he had a true sidestep low move as well, but still good to have. Now we're entering into stance, so let's go into the stance section. So let's start with EI stance 1-1. 13 frame fast, 2-hit combo, mid, really nice. 30 damage, knocks the enemy down. And you have the option to either hold down or input 3+4. Sorry. 3+4 to enter back into the EI stance. So great to have that option. EI stance 1-2-2 is a nice combo series. 13 frames, comes out mid. 40 damage, really chunky, leaves the enemy, as you can note here, in face down, feet away Oki. So it's kind of dangerous for the enemy to get up here, and can guarantee Victor some more damage, or possibly a launch if they get up incorrectly. EI stance 1, then 1+2 is a natural combo. 13 frame mid. Due to its teleport nature, it will crush a lot, as we can see here. If they block the first hit, Victor teleports in on the second hit, so it is unlikely for him to be susceptible to being hit in between in the middle of this string. One question to test out when we have access is, can we input 1+2 after confirming that the 1 was actually blocked? So then you can confirm into the teleport. That would be really, really strong. option to have here. EI stance 2 is 16 frame wall break. It's a weapon based attack. In trainers, it did appear that Victor may have had plus frames on block. Seems okay. Not too sure for now. EI stance 3. I've paused it here specifically because, as we can see, this is an armored knee move, which is nice since it's unparable and it has armor. But what is additionally interesting here is that this follow-up slash is part of the combo, natural, and it looks like it might be a full launcher, which means it's an armored launcher, which is ridiculously strong at 17 frames. We'll have to test out a little bit more, but possibly incredibly good. EI stance 4-2 is the low option, or one of the low options, I should say, in EI stance. It's 18 frames, so decently fast for a low. It is not weapon based, just note, so you can be low parried out of it. 41 damage knockdown, really nice. From videos we have seen, if even just low hits, it gives a chunky amount of plus frames to work with. Looks great. Great option, and can also break walls. EI stance 1+2 is a 20 frame all crushing move, due to how Victor teleports here, possibly making him totally invulnerable to moves, or maybe he can be jabbed out of this, I'm not sure. But looks like it possibly could be pretty good. The fact Victor teleports back into very close range here means there's likely an opportunity here for Okizeme to get additional damage in. Looks really, really good. Down 2 in EI stance is a 20 frame startup move. It has a long animation with multiple hits, decent damage. It's a little bit slow, but it does put Victor back into EI stance, which I'm not too sure here. It could be good to threaten the enemy on pawn get up, but you kind of forgo your Okizeme here. It's okay. Looks like it could be pretty good in heat as well. Possibly a full launcher from what the trailers have shown. As you can see here, big flip over in the air, possibly a combo state available. EI stance down 1+2. 20 frame weapon low, hard knock down the opponent. Really, this move looks just fantastic. The enemy is left face down, feet towards, meaning that getting up from this position, at least in Tekken 7, is really risky, and you may be able to relaunch the enemy here as they try to get up. Really good. Yeah, I stance down. Will look familiar to those who have played against Xiaoyu. I've named it Lot de Chevalier instead of Art of Phoenix here, as Vito is French. It definitely will crush highs upon inputting this command. It may even crush some mids as Victor gets to really low crouching position. seems possibly fantastic and infuriating to go up against. EI stance forwards. Shimmies Victor forwards a little bit for movement purposes. The really good, the real usage of this is that during this animation you enter you will low parry enemy lows. And during the animation, his movement might actually allow Victor to avoid highs and mids, since during the animation he kind of shuffles forwards but kind of ducks a little bit. Upon counter hitting a low attack that comes in, it does 21 damage and possibly launches, but definitely smashes the enemy into a wall for a wall combo. Always be ready to input this if the enemy enjoys using lows and tries to low poke you out of this stance. EI back shimmies Victor backwards just a little bit, about a step, maybe half a backdash or one backdash. It may also once again crush highs and possibly mids. Next up is Victor's Perfumer stance, which is a forwards 3 input to enter it manually. The additional notation here, DF allows Victor to kind of crouch dash forwards, which we may see in a bit. But during the Perfumer stance, inputting 1 is really nice. It's 19 frames, low weapon base, so cannot be low parried. It forces the enemy into crouch as well. And it looks like from Victor's very low stance here, it will crush highs and possibly mids as well. This looks like just a fantastic move. Perfumer 223, you'll notice, has reset the combo count on the left. The final hit is not guaranteed. However, what's really nice about this move is that it's a mid-mid. And if you only input the first 2 commands 2-2, you'll be able to enter the EI stance. So having this option is really nice. 2-2, 1+2, whilst in EI stance, just adds more hits, kind of to the end of the string. Once again, it's not guaranteed, but like previously, just inputting 2-2 will shift Victor into EI stance. On that, probably not worth using, but possibly use it for knowledge checking the enemy. Perfumer stance 3 is a 15 frame mid-knee, doing 21 damage plus 17 frames, and entering the heat stance. It is his only option of entering the heat stance in Perfumer, so probably useful to have in your back pocket. To note, if I go back in the video a little bit, it is not armored, but it does wall break. Good to have. But yeah, not a true launcher, rather a heat move. Perfumer 4 is 18 frame high. They also apparently can break walls. If judging from the animation, they would have to be splattered already, and then doing this will break them through it. The advantage of this is a homing, denoted by the blue icon. So if the enemy is trying to step you, Victor, as he's entering into Perfumer stance, use this to catch them. Perfumer stance 1+2 is a very slow 25 frame startup weapon mid. 25 damage. Knocks the enemy down quite far away. So not really for Oki. Can smash the enemy through walls. So probably only useful at for that rather than in the neutral. And here we have Perfumer down forwards, where Victor will enter a crouch dash and set Victor very low to the ground. So this looks like it will avoid highs for sure, possibly mids. But looks interesting. There's no move set or attacks that come out of this crouch dash specifically. So it might just be for evasion purposes, or you might be able to use while stand moves coming out of this. Not too sure. We'll need to lab it a little bit further. And that's pretty much the end. I believe we are entering into grabs and combos. So I'll just leave that out. They're fairly, standard. Only thing of note is that Victor does have a command grab or command throw. If I could find it in my sheet. In the form of R forwards 1+2 is a 12 frame startup, 40 damage, does not side switch, is a 1+2 break and a 1+2 input as well. And that's pretty much it. Let me just check my notes if there's anything further to go through. That's it. So kind of rounding off some general thoughts on Victor. Stuff to note, he has many weapon-based attacks, meaning he is generally safe to parries across possibly 80 to 90% of his moves, so that's really nice to have. He has a bunch of tools for situations, including 2 stances. His fastest armor move in the neutral is 15 frames, but does commit him to using heat engager. He has 2 pretty threatening lows in the neutral. So on counter hit, down 4 gives chunky damage, very similar to Feng Wei's down back 3. Counter hit, down back 4 high crushes, at least, possibly even crushes mids, and gives a full combo launcher, which is fantastic. There's also down 1-1, which is a 16 frame low, at least high crushes, weapon based, natural string, 22 damage plus 6 frames, and then you can down forward 2, up forward 4 to launch them, and you will outspeed the enemy's 10 frame jab. Just really, really strong. Victor can also manually shoot his gun using quarter circle forwards 2, and it auto approaches Victor towards the enemy in EI stance. Great for closing the gap, meaning Victor doesn't need to super care about spacing and the neutral game if he's far away. Just quarter circle forwards 2 and get in there. One thing to note is Victor doesn't have a truly oppressive full crouch game, as full crouch 1+2 is kind of his only option in full crouch. It returns Victor to standing, but not at all bad for 20 damage and return to a neutral state. It ends in +0, so true neutral. 16 frames is decent, which is only 1 frame slower than Victor's while standing 1 mid launcher. So dark blocking and trying to avoid full crouch 1+2 is pretty dangerous, as if you see the enemy going to crouch, tap the 1 button and launch them. This feels really reminiscent to Alisa's what's it called, Sad Hound move, where it returns her to neutral, but it's enough of a low to make enemies start thinking about wanting to duck block. Or crouch block, I should say. A note on EI stance and Perfumer stance. They both seem pretty good. They have low options that give either plus frames or hard knockdowns. A couple of things to note are that the Perfumer stance does not appear to have a normal launcher, but maybe on counter hit, we'll have to see. The EI stance appears to have a 17 frame armored weapon launcher move. Not entirely sure, but if it is a launcher, it is fantastic. Just an incredible move. And if so, it acts as a full deterrence against the enemy from pushing any buttons. If they press a low, there's the opportunity, I should say, that Victor has to press forwards in the EI stance to auto parry the low attack for a chunky amount of damage. Or if the enemy tries to press using a high or a mid, then Victor may be able to armor through that and launch the enemy for a full combo. Seems really good. Other little bits about the stances. Perfumer stance does not have an armored move. And EI stance does not have a true homing move. However, in the release trailer for Victor, it does show that EI stance down 2 tracked against Raven as they attempted to sidestep Victor. So maybe a really strong homing-ish move, but no official one. Whereas Perfumer stance does have a full tracking move. A full tracking / homing move. Victor also apparently, after shooting his gun, he seems to go into the EI stance automatically. So it doesn't seem like you'll be able to just stay at range shooting his gun forever. And final notes here, Victor can go into Perfumer stance and then from Perfumer stance into EI stance, but there's no way to transition from EI stance to Perfumer stance. And final note, his rage art is 20 frames, which is a little bit on the slow side. But it does have armor, as rage arts do, and does 55 damage and leads to a hard knockdown. And I think truly we've reached the end of all the moves. My voice starts to give out. Just a couple of final notes to fully wrap up here. Not too long to go, don't worry. So, alright, here we go. Do note that we don't know what all the moves do on counter hitting the opponent, or how they act on block, or how safe they are upon being blocked and the resulting frame data. We'll have to see in January, unless someone is going to fully test that for us. Some moves look a little bit mediocre from the move list here, but possibly may be crucial for combos. In terms of upkeep of this file, I may upkeep it and update it in the future, but I truly just wanted to make it now while the move list is out of just passion and interest about Victor. I am unlikely to do this sort of coverage for every other character in the game, as I'm just not that interested. That being said, I might do Alisa, because I did main her in Tekken 7. In terms of usage of this file, I mean, go ahead and copy it out. If Applay would like to use this to save them a bunch of work in going through all the moves, please go for it. Just go ahead and chat my name just in the thanks section if you want. And to you listeners and viewers, if you found this useful, I'm not going to give you the YouTuber spiel of subbing and liking the video, only if you want, I guess. What I do actually want you to do is to go and ask nicely to, or pester, your favorite mod creators. There are 3 crucial mods for the PC version that I desperately want for Victor. Number 1, a Dante from Devil May Cry model swap. That would be extremely cool. Number 2 is a Virgil from Devil May Cry model swap. That would be extremely cool as well. But most importantly, and I cannot reiterate and emphasize just how important this last one is. So important. We want and desperately need is the correct word, a waifu model swap for Victor, just like Noctis did in T7, where some incredible mod creators made Noctis into 2B from the Nier Automata series. What can I say? Don't judge, Victor's cool, but these Mishimas are getting Reina as a waifu. I think we should. Anyway, end of video. Thanks. I hope this helped. Bye.